With the ever-increasing inventory of used car supply, it begs the question, why would you ever spend the extra money and buy a new vehicle? There's lots to choose from, and it ultimately saves you a huge amount of money when you buy yourself a used car. That's why I'm going to share some of the key reasons why, in fact, you want to do that. Let's get into it now.
Life's too short to drive boring cars.
First key reason why you want to buy yourself a used car and not necessarily a new vehicle is because the newest vehicles have the latest technology. While a lot of people love that latest tech, a lot of people don't. The simple fact is the newer the vehicle, the more complex it is, usually means the less likeliness of you keeping that on the road reliably. You're definitely not going to be able to DIY a lot of these modern day vehicles with enhanced drivetrains. Certainly with turbocharged engines, a lot of hybrid action, and as well pure electric vehicles are pretty much hands off entirely by your average layman. So at the end of the day, buying yourself a used vehicle, whether it's 5 years old, 10 years old, represents a vehicle that likely is yesterday's news in terms of technology, and likely you're able to do some fixing of it yourself, possibly even take it to more third-party shops that also have the experience to work on yesterday's news because it's been around for a while. Whereas the brand new latest and the greatest technology, many of even the factory dealerships aren't even trained up yet to properly service a lot of those vehicles, and so ultimately it means you're going to spend a lot more money at the service shop. Second very valid point is clear to me, and it's always been clear to me because that's the way I've always lived my life, and I've never bought myself a brand new car. I bought new cars for other people, family members, who felt like they were in a predicament that they needed something a little bit more reliable, because after a glutton and a stretch of abusive repair payments owning a BMW, I had people who needed something more reliable and they just wanted to get out cold turkey and get themselves a brand new Toyota just because of the overall reliability that it provides. But at the end of the day, you can make a choice. Whether you buy yourself a new or used vehicle always gives you the better option. You can always get yourself a better car, is the bottom line. I've always looked at buying a car as a value proposition. The more value that I can actually get out of that vehicle, the better off I feel like I made. I get myself more vehicle for the dollar. So you can get yourself a premium luxury car or an upscale car. For example, like our family member bought a Toyota Camry, can actually buy maybe a slightly used Toyota Camry, which may be only 20 or 30,000 kilometers on it, for the same price as a brand new base Corolla, and yet the Camry is literally twice the vehicle. So why wouldn't you buy that slightly used Toyota? It represents an opportunity to get yourself a way better car for the same amount of money. Another reason why I buy myself used cars and definitely prefer them over brand new is because when you buy brand new, you generally pay much higher insurance rates. The insurance companies see a new vehicle and the overall value of it, and they have to protect their investment. So they definitely are going to, number one, ensure that you have to take full coverage, which means you have to take everything. If you've got a loan payment on a new vehicle, they're going to want you to take glass coverage, wheel coverage, bumper, collision, you name it, they want you to take it. And you're going to have to pay full coverage on everything. They want full protection, especially if you have a loan or a lease on that vehicle. Second to that, if you have a used vehicle, you can now opt out of some of those features. Maybe you can say, I don't need glass, I'm willing to take the risk. Maybe I don't need collision coverage because that only covers me if I'm hitting something. But at the end of the day, they can save a lot of money, not just on the front end with the purchase price of that vehicle, but insurance costs are likely to save you a ton as well. And as well, don't forget, if you like reliable cars as much as I like reliable cars, because nobody wants to spend an arm and 3 legs to repair their vehicles on a regular basis, be sure to hit that subscribe button down there, because that is exactly what I'm all about. So let's get on to the next topic, which is in fact reliability, and that's what you're going to get yourself a vehicle that is generally more reliable. Bear with me on this. How can a used vehicle be more reliable than a new vehicle? Well, technically a new vehicle's right off the showroom floor. That doesn't mean it's most reliable. Again, this is twofold. Number one, it's technologically advanced. The latest and the greatest likely has some untried and untested technology. That's why they always tell you, never buy the first make or remake of a model year. Make sure that you wait a couple years after a major refresh, because a lot of the technology is very much untried and untested, and it could leave you in a world of hurt. The other part is the reliability piece. You have now a track record of what that particular model is. I go and buy this used car that's already, say, 5 years old. I already know I can look on all kinds of resources like Exotic Car Play Place. I can go online. You can go anywhere, Consumers Reports and beyond, and find out very quickly which cars rank, where they rank, how poor they are, how great they are, and where their overall reliability. You also know their weaknesses and some of the other learnings that have been discovered already. You don't know that with a new car, but you certainly do with a used car. And that does give you a home game advantage. We also can't forget, because used vehicles, as I already said, are likely going to be a simpler beast. A 5-year-old vehicle is much less technologically advanced than a modern day vehicle. There's so many microprocessors, computers, modules that are going in today's vehicles that every single year that goes by, it's twofold in terms of complexity, and likely that lower complexity of the older vehicles are going to keep you much more reliable. Another huge benefit in buying yourself a used car is you suffer far less depreciation, and we know that. That's a given. Like they say, you drive a brand new vehicle and literally you lose about 20% of its value the first year, or almost essentially when you first drive it off the lot. Every year after that, it's between 15 and 20% loss incrementally. So what you're finding then is a vehicle that's 5 years old that's literally worth 30, 40, maybe 50% of its original value. You as the buyer of that used vehicle can get yourself a phenomenal deal. As a brand new car buyer, you're guaranteed going to suffer a major depreciation. I mean, we all save our hard-earned money. Nobody's rich here. We're all looking to try to save a buck, because at the end of the day, whether you're trying to save up for retirement, make your house payments, whether you want to feed the kids, whatever that be, that money is important to each and every one of us because it's not infinite. And as a result, by losing it on depreciation just seems foolish. Buying a used car that's late model, that's in good shape, and even better if it's got some extended warranty on it, gives you all the benefits of buying a new car, but no risks, and certainly you save a pile of money. So depreciation is one of the biggest, ugliest deals with buying a brand new car, and why you need a used one instead. So in my personal opinion, something I've always personally gravitated to, and why I've gone to used cars instead of buying new, is literal sticker shock. I mean, you can literally browse the classifieds, you can go Tempest, you can certainly go autotrader.ca.com, you can even go on eBay. You can literally find many of the typical resources that are selling vehicles, whether it's even Facebook Marketplace. You can find a lot of these options, and you'll know very quickly how much that vehicle is, how much you can afford, and where it fits into your budget. And there's really no surprises. The only surprise might be when you go look at that used vehicle, if it's in poor shape, or if there's problems with it, or bad paint, or it makes weird noises. But you can find out pretty quickly once you go and investigate that car. Have you seen new trucks? 70, 80, 90,000? I've even seen a brand new stock diesel single rear pickup truck that was all blinged out for $120,000 Canadian. You talk about sticker shock, then you go and add GST, PST, harmonized sales taxes, state taxes, as well as luxury taxes on top of that. Now your out the door price for that big diesel truck might be closer to $140,000. That is damaging blow. But instead, buying that used vehicle, first of all, there's no surprises, there's no add-ons, there's no this fee and admin fee or doc fees. You can go in there, buy a second-hand private vehicle that you know exactly what you're going to pay. You negotiate it, you get the deal, and likely you already just know what to expect. You don't expect a $140,000 price tag for a pickup truck, or even an $80,000 Lexus, or a Toyota SUV like a RAV4 for 60 grand. Those days of economically priced brand new vehicles are in the past, so buying a used vehicle definitely eliminates the idea of some major sticker shock. Another big reason why I buy used cars, and why I really strongly advise people to buy used over new, unless you have endless amounts of money that you're willing to throw away, is used cars are just able to save you so much money. It gives money for other things. It allows you to spend that money in other places that you really enjoy. Maybe you also like to travel, but if you're car poor, you can't do that. As an example, we bought this car back when it was 2 years old. 2 years old, only had 30,000 kilometers, that's about 20,000 miles on it. It had a whole host of other items that the dealer was willing to throw in, and we paid $35,000 with very few Ks on it, barely over demo miles, and it even came with a second set of wheels. However, would you believe the brand new price of this vehicle, and I just priced it out, a brand new 4MATIC with the black trim, which this one has, and some of the AMG touches, which some of this has on the rims, and it has some of the detail. Basically, to replace this vehicle as it sees right now is over $66,000 before you get into fees and taxes and all the others. This car now becomes $70,000 or more out the door to replace this vehicle. We paid $35, we paid half. And it was 2 years old, and the new models, just all they give you is a little bit of hybrid assist, and on top of it, they got a slightly revised gauge cluster, which gives you more of that digital display, which honestly, I prefer the analog gauges from these vehicles anyway. So quite frankly, we saved a huge amount of money. I could literally buy him and hers of these for the price of a brand new one. And honestly, I don't feel like we've enjoyed this any less or any more than somebody who bought this vehicle brand new. So it allows you to spend that money in so many other places and do the things that you like to do instead of being car poor. Another huge benefit that I've personally witnessed, experienced, and enjoy from time to time whenever I decide to go out and buy myself a used, new to me car is the simple fact of financial security. Nobody wants to be house poor, nobody wants to be car poor, and everybody likes to have a little extra money to hang around. Nobody wants to be broke, constantly living from check to check. And buying that brand new car, did you realize that nowadays there's about 15% of the population taking out car loans that are spending over $1,000 a month? That's right, there's many people that are spending $1,500, $1,800, and even $2,000 per month for their brand new vehicle payment. That is absolutely absurd. Could you imagine being locked into a mortgage payment, but all you're getting is a small car that's a heavy depreciating asset? Wouldn't it be much better to have that money used elsewhere, maybe paying down your mortgage a little sooner, and for the sake of just driving something that's a little bit older? It doesn't mean you have to drive that old rust bucket. It just means shop around, be savvy, look at that used car. Instead of buying this brand new at 66, I save 30 grand, I can put that down on the mortgage and be that much further ahead. I mean, after taxes, that's probably 6 months to a year's of my salary working full-time gig. So honestly, it gives you a financial security or independence that you might not have if you're literally being house and car poor. Buying a used car often offers up many other advantages, and you don't often see those. Even when you buy a new or used vehicle from a dealer, sometimes buying privately does offer specific opportunities when you're buying a used vehicle, and a lot of that is flexible payment options. Sometimes people are willing to take layaway payments. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that, but hey, maybe you want to secure that vehicle and you don't have all the funds. Sometimes they don't want to let the vehicle go. They might just say, look, you give me $1,000 today, $1,000 next month, next month, next month, 6 months, the car's yours. I promise I won't put a mile on it. So there's layaway plans. You might have options to take out a small loan or a combination of cash and loan, or just walking in and paying cash for the entire amount. Whether it's 2 grand is easy, but as soon as you start throwing 10, 20, $30,000 cash around, people get nervous. Banks get nervous, dealers get nervous. Nobody wants to take that kind of money, and rightfully so. There's so many criminals and scam artists today. So it's very difficult sometimes walking into a dealership with cash. But there are private buyers and sellers that often are willing to negotiate in some terms that may be combinations, like I said, of cash, bank loans, bank drafts, you name it. There might be different options or combinations of, and a lot of people like combos or options that help them work and navigate the new car or used car purchasing experience. And one of my favorite, biggest reasons, and the reason that I go to, it's truly my motto, is the bang for the buck. And why, in fact, I'm always buying used cars instead of new, because you get so much more vehicle for your money. You get so much more opportunity to save a buck. You can get that luxury car like this instead of having to go into a Toyota for the same cash. Or maybe you want that premium Toyota instead of a slightly downgraded Toyota, for example. It doesn't matter, you have options. The point is you get way more car for your money, way better options, better features. You're stepping into something more substantial for less money, far less money in many cases. Remember, depreciation knocks vehicles down to about at least 50% of their value in the first 3 or 4 years. Means you can get way more car for your money than you could ever imagine when you're buying them new. And with all of that said, be sure to check out that long-winded video that shares every single one of the best, most reliable vehicles that you can possibly buy. Hope to see each and every one of you on the next one. We'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.